Well, my friends, we have a lot to talk about today, especially with Rashida Tlaib. But first, let's look at some of the big headlines from yesterday's off-year elections. In Ohio, abortion was on the ballot, and a huge majority in that state voted to enshrine abortion rights into the Ohio Constitution, 56% to 43%. In Kentucky, a big governor's race between incumbent Democrat Andy Beshear and his GOP challenger, Attorney General Dan Cameron. The Democrat won 52% to 47%, that is, over his challenger. In Mississippi, another big governor's race where Republican Tate Reeves held on in that race 51-47, but that's a state the GOP should win by a landslide and didn't. And in Virginia, all the marbles for the state house and the state senate, which Democrats now control. Yeah, a rough night for Governor Glenn Youngkin. We'll get to all of that and the possible ramifications for 2024. But there's another topic that has an important impact as well. It could play out much bigger in public, which is the Democrat holy war. It's about to enter a new phase, just like the war in Gaza. For the second time in a few days, Michigan Representative Rashida Tlaib facing censure in the House of Representatives. And this time, Tlaib's colleagues, both Democrats, in fact, 22 Democrats, joined Republicans and voted 234 to 188 to condemn the anti-Semitic remarks and tropes. Seriously, it's like saying Heil Hitler was an aspirational call for freedom from the Nazis in World War II. It was something the Babylon Bee actually put into a headline yesterday to point out how far-fetched and utterly ridiculous such a defense really is. Tlaib has a long history of anti-Semitic remarks and comments that condemn Israel, and now she joins a short list of people ever censured in the House. In fact, it's rare. Tlaib is only the 26th member to ever receive that kind of rebuke from her colleagues. Now the censure resolution has passed bipartisan support instead of having it tabled. But let me be clear about something here. Tlaib's not the only member of the squad spewing hateful rhetoric, not at all. And one of her squad colleagues and partners took it to an all-new low on Tuesday on the House floor and a disgraceful defense of Tlaib's comments. Listen to this screed.
It's outrageous that my colleagues are blatantly attempting to silence the only Palestinian American representative right here. It's outrageous, but it's not surprising. And let me tell you, it's not surprising because this place is where 1,700 members of Congress, this elected body, enslaved black people. It's not surprising because they thought it was right. It's not surprising because this is a place where members continue to claim that the insurrection on the Capitol just appeared to look like a normal tourist visit. It's not surprising because this is the place where our black and brown staff members repeatedly speak of experiencing racism and sexism, Islamophobia, get pushed off of elevators, xenophobia, and more right here in this workplace. This is the place. And let me say this. She mourns for the 1,400 Israelis.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
She mourns for the 10,000, and she will not stop. No
gentlelady's time has expired.
Ceasefire now. And she takes the death threats that you all sent that they
The gentlelady is no longer recognized. The gentleman from Maryland.
To her, the desire to save lives is greater.
Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
That's what I said.
Wow, what a disgraceful display. There's no other way to put that. No decorum, no class. You see, they always go back to the race card. Yeah, that really sums up the histrionic and shrill, yeah, I said it, shrill cacophony from the hysterical left. They've lost their minds completely. You just saw it. And that was just the beginning of the meltdown. Now that it looks like Tlaib is going to get sanctioned for her hateful comments over many years. And how will Democrats handle it? Well, this Democrat holy war has really painted them into a corner. Here's more.
Are you concerned about just the protests that you are seeing, the rhetoric that is coming out from some base voters, people who are saying that they don't like the response that they've seen from the Biden-Harris White House on this issue?
Look, Simone, first of all, I want to really take a moment and sort of acknowledge that, what we're seeing in the Middle East is horrific. But I also think we have to acknowledge that multiple things can be true, right? On one hand, you see that Hamas had a terrorist attack on Israel. Israel has the right to defend itself, but the way in which they defend themselves is very critical here. The president has also called for humanitarian pauses and humanitarian aid into Gaza. He's doubled down on the fact, both him and the vice president, that the fact that anti-Semitism, Islamophobia has no place in the American political system.
Rationalizing, equivocating, throwing out that made-up word of Islamophobia. And the problem here is that everyone knows how far out of line she is to proclaim Israel as the villain. This is a country that's been attacked repeatedly for 75 years.